So let's talk about clouds. Why? Because clouds are awesome, clouds are great. And in the meantime, I have a somewhat overdue bushing kit to install on my motor. We're gonna do some maintenance, torque the head, make sure she's tuned up and not gonna die on me. Cylinder head and piston are looking not too shabby. A little bit of carbon buildup, but she's all normal. So just the other day, I made this Instagram post from a photo I took a few days ago. Somehow this post became my most liked picture on Instagram almost immediately. I was kind of blown away, and I loved everyone's responses to the whole idea of flying above the clouds. So I wanted to make a whole video about flying over clouds, what it's like, flying in clouds, and the legality of clouds in general. As paramotor pilots, I think we're really fortunate to be able to experience flying above clouds in such a pure way. It's almost like a rite of passage as a paramotor pilot to get your first experience above the clouds. It's one of those things that doesn't really get old. It's just a completely different world. You can be below the clouds and it's gray and dreary and just a sad day, but then you get above and the sky opens up, the sun is shining bright. So I know you might be wondering, where do you find such a gorgeous, beautiful River Foot Drag t-shirt or the stunning, risky black camo sweatshirt? Both are exclusively available on tuckergott.com, linked in the description. And if you make a purchase before the 31st, which is coming up super soon, you might find yourself as the winner of the giveaway in the front seat of the Trike-mobile going on a tandem flight with myself, or you might just find one of 2 GoPros at your doorstep. So with this being a somewhat Instagram-inspired episode, I reached out to Instagram on my stories and asked you guys what questions you have about clouds, flying near them, flying in them, and you got some good questions. So Corey Smith asked, weird, but can you taste them? If so, are they marshmallow flavored? No, you cannot taste clouds. Yes, I wish they were marshmallow flavored, but sometimes there is a certain smell, specifically in the summertime when it's really hot and humid down below, and then eventually you get way up high, the air is cool, like air conditioned, and you fly through a cloud, it just has this nice, clean and fresh sort of smell to it. Joey IMAD says, I dread flying above the clouds. I always think I'll have collapses, so I haven't tried it yet. Is it dangerous? In general, I would say your average cloud does not really indicate that there's turbulence. One thing I think a lot of people don't realize is they often assume that clouds are just really high up, like at the level airlines would fly, 25, 35,000 feet. And that's really not true. A lot of times the clouds that we fly around in paramotors are 3,000 feet and below. So Matthew Stevens says, what would happen if you flew through a thick cloud layer? Andrew Conover says, what are the dangers? And that's what I want to talk about next. Flying directly in clouds and why you shouldn't do it. All right, so here's the part we were looking for. This is the exhaust bushing. This little guy needs to be swapped out for a fresh one. So flying above and around clouds is one thing, but flying directly through them is a whole different story. Here in the US, we have a pretty definitive set of cloud clearances we have to abide by as paramotors under FAR 103, which I'll talk about later. But I personally have had the opportunity in different countries to do some things that wouldn't normally be legal here in the US. One example, flying in the middle of the night, flying directly over people, and also flying directly through clouds. So I can tell you from personal experience what it's like. It's a very interesting thought. It's a very tempting thing to do, but I'm here to tell you why not to do it from personal experience. I mean, it's kind of cool, but it's also extremely scary and disorienting and dangerous. The reason we have cloud clearance laws and why we're not allowed in the US to fly directly in clouds is because what if there's another airplane that's IFR capable, flying legally through a cloud? He has zero chance of seeing you. And if airplane versus paramotor, it's not going to be a good day. Now, while traveling internationally, I've poked through some sides of clouds where maybe it's a small cloud and you just kind of get to the point where you can't see much and then you're out the other side, or maybe you just skim the side of it just to get a feel for it. But there was one time that I kind of made some bad decisions and I straight up went into a thick cloud. I was trying to climb through a layer, but it turned out that it sucked up and closed behind me. And I realized this, so I tried to get out. But in trying to get out, I kind of got scared and a little bit lost, disoriented, and I was expecting to come out of the cloud pretty quick, but I was surprised it took longer and longer and my heart rate started to elevate. And I was like, oh God, this is not good. I can't see, I'm scared. Thankfully, I popped out. Everything was a-okay. Straight up flying into a cloud is not a good idea. It's not safe. It's not that romantic or cool or fun. It can be really scary, and I would say that you should probably avoid it. So we're out here at the field, and the cloud situation tonight is not favorable for getting above any clouds, but we're gonna fly around and have a good time anyway, observe some fall colors. Got the Jackelson laid out over there, got the Scoutmobile all fresh and slightly cleaned up. I ran out of time. I wish I could have done a better job, but I'll do it some other day. So yeah, we're gonna take off, we're gonna fly around, and it's gonna be a rad old time.
Other news, I'm trying out these sweet new gloves I got, but they're authentic deer hide. They have good dexterity, I guess you would say. They're still gloves, and I still hate flying with gloves, but they're pretty easy to manipulate. So when it comes to clouds, we've established that flying above and around them is pretty freaking sweet. Flying in them is definitely not sweet, but where do you draw the line? Like, what's the legal limit? And in the US, it's found in FAR 103, the chapter that governs us paramotor folks. So FAR 103 defines cloud clearances depending on what airspace you're flying, and typically we only fly in E and G airspace. So if we start out with E, you need 3 statute miles visibility. And then as far as your distance around clouds, it's 500 below, 1,000 above, and 2,000 horizontal. Hello, young children. That kid just threw a football at me. And he almost hit his friend in the back of the head. Damn it, really? Now, if you go to the next step, which is Class G airspace, then our cloud requirements get a little bit more loose. It goes down to 1 statute mile visibility and just clear of clouds. And that can be interpreted however you would like, but I personally interpret clear of clouds, meaning not inside them. You can go right next to it, but as long as you're not inside the cloud, I would say that's okay. Don't fly in the clouds, but do safely maneuver around and above them and take epic selfies, because it'll probably get you a lot of likes on Instagram, and everyone knows that is the absolute peak of existence. You know, the best part about these gloves is I can see deer on the ground. You're like, I'm wearing your hide on my hand. How does that make you feel, deer?
Just look at him go. So Jacqueline did 2 laps around the patch. She said both times her Atom 80 kind of like dropped power on climb out, like slowly, and then restored it again. She just came around and landed, checked things out, and it did it again. So I don't really know what could be going on. My only thought is air bubbles in the fuel because the primer bulb was a little sketchy, but I'll let you armchair mechanics figure it out in the comments. People always come up with some ludicrous ideas. Did you try putting cooking spray on the piston? But anyway, there's an airliner up there above the clouds. Clouds are cool, remember it. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Make sure you check out the merch in the description, get entered to the giveaway, fill out the giveaway form. Full contest rules are link number 3 in the description. Do all the things and maybe we'll go on a tandem flight. Maybe you'll find a GoPro 7 on your doorstep. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Till then, peace. Zhup.